Trump bombed Iran. Can we trust what happens next?
The New England Take.
Just got off doing a radio segment with WDEV, Ross Connolly's The Vermont Viewpoint. I'll put a link in the episode description. Please check out what he's doing over there. Weekly show over in Vermont. Awesome stuff. But I want to get some stuff for the YouTube channel based off some of the points I made. So with Iran now officially being hit with these 3 bombs, the real question is what happens going forward. And what happens politically with the Make Up the MAGA movement. So personally, for me, I had a knee-jerk reaction of, I don't necessarily trust us doing something like this. It sounds like a terrible idea. I'm wicked gun-shy after what's happened with Iraq and Afghanistan, Libya, all these various nations that we bombed into oblivion and tried to influence with regime change, and in not very good ways in any of those situations. I mean, it's not great when your leader gets sodomized with a sword, and that's the end of him when you're talking Gaddafi. Obviously not ideal. As terrible as that person was, it doesn't kind of breed productive change after the fact. So if we somehow make it that this is the end of our time here in Iran, we drop these 3 bombs, we at least take some of the advancement that Iran has been able to make when it came to their nuclear production, fine, I can deal. I can make do, I don't care. That's fine. If there's any chance we're going to have boots on the ground, we're going to proceed to do much more than what we've already been doing, no, I'm not on board whatsoever. So, very clear line. The hawks are obviously not very happy. Your neoconservatives out there are wanting us to push direct regime change, is what Mark Levin and stuff have been saying. John Bolton wants that. I mean, ultimately, I don't see us doing it. I don't think Trump wants to go any further. Whether or not Netanyahu or someone is able to kind of drag him in another direction is yet to be seen, but he was pretty pissed off when Iran and Israel were continuing to drop more and more bombs on each other there for the preceding hours after the alleged treaty or ceasefire was going to be put in place within 24 hours. So the fact he was that angry about it was dropping F-bombs on cable news during a press availability, that's a big deal. I think that goes to show that he wants to be done, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens going forward on that. The MAGA movement is all over the place. I mean, who runs the MAGA movement? Well, it's Trump. It's Trumpism, and we need to stop pretending that, or I mean, it goes on both ways probably, but a Trump supporter is not part of the MAGA movement per se. I'm constantly called from left-wing people a MAGA person. I am not a MAGA person. I'm a libertarian-leaning dude that voted for Trump out of political necessity because I wasn't going to vote for Harris. It doesn't mean I support everything he's done. I think he's ethically kind of a crappy person, but so are all politicians. I think they're all kind of terrible. They're all liars. You pick your best liar, and that's the way it goes. You can't take any of them at their word, so you hope politically you can drive them to make the right decisions that's in the best interest that you want to see. So, and on the other side also, I'm called a Democrat by many of the MAGA movement people because I'm not fully on board with everything he wants to say. It's kind of crazy that you call a libertarian-leaning person a leftist. Whatever, such as online dialogue, but whatever. Moving on. The future of the MAGA movement is going to be very interesting, and it'll be super interesting to see what the follow to this has going forward when you get around to the next presidential cycle, because it's going to be a fascinating one. If J.D. Vance is the person that takes the reins, I got the feeling he's going to continue a bunch of the foreign policy that Trump has pushed forward. That's not always the case. If we have a destabilized Iran going forward, I mean, that could have huge impact on what we do in that part of the world. You got to figure what the Houthis are doing over there, the future of any possible stability in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, what the Qataris, everything, where the money's going for these various terrorist operations, or whether maybe, knock on wood, someday it stops being filtered that way and starts going to the development of solid economies in these countries that are developing at best in some situations, with tremendous wealth inequality when it comes to the kings and stuff versus versus the people on the ground, which do not have any money. So I don't know. When you look at destabilizing a nation, it causes real issues. If the Ayatollah is able to continue to have power in Iran, then whatever, he's going to keep doing what it is, but we now won't have the possibility of having a nuke. But there has been a lot of talk about, if he doesn't have that nuclear development as part of what he's doing, that could be destabilizing in and of itself. So the next 6 months, definitely do not take your eyes off of what's going on in Iran, because it will have an impact on the whole Middle East. So I don't know. I wanted to get this out there, get a few things down in a shorter format here. It's, as always, politics are an interesting game that it could swing one way or another very quickly. We have a socialist elected in New York City as or nominated for the mayoral race by the Democrats. What impact will that have? Cuomo is going to run as an independent, allegedly, so it may not mean anything that they got a socialist over there, but it kind of goes to show that the traditional parties are definitely in flux. What David Hogg was pushing, whether anyone's going to back that sort of direction politically, could mean some problems for the boomers in office. I don't know whether it's really going to go anywhere. I think the party establishments really have a foothold in so much, but one can hope and dream that change can happen when it comes to the percentage of people in their 70s and 80s in office, and the impact it'll have in foreign policy, domestic policy, and new blood entering these races. All right, NewEnglandTake.com. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Please be sure to also check out our podcast feed. I'm going to start posting some more audio-only episodes over there. I want to get some things a little more newsworthy right out the gate, maybe some long, some short, but I think there's a lot of opportunity to get some more things out there, especially with how crazy the news cycle is, and it's a little easier to do an audio-only episode, too. So please be sure to check out over there. Any feedback, please email aj@NewEnglandTake.com. I'd love to hear it. I've already received a few emails just by putting the email address in the episode description. So yeah, shoot me an email, tips, ideas. You got something you want to bring up to the show? You want to call me an idiot? I've received a few of those already too. I appreciate any and all feedback. Please bring it my way. All right, talk to you soon.